Hello everyone. Okay, for my next card, I'm going to use this old Mama Elephants stamp set that I got a while ago. I think I got this as part of a like mystery box bundle. It's super cute, but super intricate, so I don't use it very often. But I decided I was going to do a watercolor with it. So I'm going to ink it up, use some embossing powder, just some clear embossing powder, and then color in everything. For the inking, I'm going to use my Misty. I'm also going to use some anti-static powder to make sure that I don't pick up as little stray embossing powder as possible, because I am wanting to color the whole background as well, not just the image. Make sure I give myself enough room all the way around. Right, I'm going to ink up my image. And then I'm going to add my embossing powder. You may notice that there's bits of rice in here. I put this in there to absorb any kind of moisture, to keep my powder from clumping up unnecessarily. I don't go through it as fast as some other people do, so I've had this bottle, what, 10 years? Maybe more. So yeah. I want to keep it as usable as possible. Okay, once I've got my powder on, I'll heat up my embossing powder. I'll do it from the front and the back. I'm going to try to minimize the warping of my watercolor paper as much as possible. Since I know I want it to go all the way across the border, I am going to use some painter's tape and tape this down. It helps keep it flat when I do my washes, and it also protects my edges. So that's double duty. And I'm not going to be too careful about the borders, because I'm going to cut this down as well to fit the card size, the card base. So to color this, I am going to use my paints from Holbein, and I chose this because it's got a lot more options when it comes to natural colors. First, I'm going to just go in with some clean water to wet down the paper. because I want kind of a soft, muted, wet on wet look. Now I'm gonna go in with I believe this is probably some light red and some burnt umber mixed together. I'm just gonna drop it in. What's really great about embossing is that I don't need to worry about the colors spilling over outside the lines unless I go overboard on the water. There's a cute little mouse. And that also means I can paint images, like sections right next to each other, because I still have that little bit of a barrier, so I'm not gonna risk the bleed through. And for the little mouse, I'm gonna use some gray. Just keep him kind of light. All right. Next kitty. I want him to be kind of an orange tabby, so I'm going to take some of this yellow ochre and dull it down a little bit with some yellow gray. Maybe we can get some camboose. I think I still want him to be brighter. I am going to turn on some music for the rest of this. So I have my kitties all watercolored. I did have a mistake where I accidentally hit my brush against the camera and it plopped down, so that's great. But that's fine. I'm not going to throw away the whole piece. What I'm going to end up doing is fussy cutting around this and sticking it on another panel. So I didn't need to tape it down after all. I was going to do a flat kind of wash in the background, but no wash. The last bits that I'm missing are the just kind of gold highlights that I want to do for like the stars and the little ornaments, just little bits there. So I'm going to take these starry colors from Kuretake Gansai Tambi, and I am going to choose, I think, just this gold. Let it sit for a second to activate. Going in. Just add dobs of gold. Now that it's dry, I am going to take my scissors and fussy cut along the lines. And this is going to take a while, so I will just pause here and come back when it's done. So I ended up fussy cutting out this entire image, and these little baubles were really, really hard, especially the dingly string. So I ended up cutting them out. I have them set over here to the side, and I will just glue them on separately. And I said baubles, but they're really the stars. And then the kitty tail fell off too. But I'm not mad at that. It actually kind of looks like a bobtail cat. So I think I'm gonna leave the tail off, but stick these stars back on later. And I went around the edges with a Memento Tuxedo Black marker just to darken them up so it's not so stark. So if you can see, like around the baubles, the edges are still white. So I'll go around those with the marker to darken them up. Because this is so tiny, I'm going to use my tweezers to help me out here. Otherwise, my fingers will get in the way. And I like to go from the back side. I started on the front side and I was like, oh no, this is dangerous. I like to have the back side facing me. So if I do kind of slip and run a smudge across the image, it's on the back side of it rather than the pretty front side. And as you can see, that just kind of finishes off those edges and makes them look a little bit better. This one will go here. This one will go here. I had to cut the strings off as well, so I need to decide, well, not now, but I'll decide if I want to draw the strings in or if I want to move it and have the cats hold the stars instead. Decisions. Okay. So I'm going to move this to the side. Because I had to fussy cut this out, it kind of changed the planned layout that I was thinking of. So I thought I would make this into a shaker card. So I have my card base. I just put some red cardstock on the back. And then I cut out a frame from the rounded rectangle die that I have. And then I cut the plastic out of that as well. And so I'm gonna use this as my shaker front. And I want this image to kind of nestle in between the plastic and underneath the shaker window a bit. Well, actually, it's not gonna make any difference. It's not gonna make any difference. So I'll just glue down my shaker window. No. Glue down my frame. Yep. Make sure I line this up well. Now, I'm going to glue down my watercolor image. I think I want it there. Put my acrylic blocks on top to hold it down. I'm also going to glue down my stars. And these are so tiny, I think I'm going to do the dab of glue here. Dab of glue. The star. This star. Got that all fastened down, and now I'm going to add my foam tape. I'm just gonna cut it apart. And I know there's a gap here, but the confetti that I'm using is big enough that it's not going to fall through that gap, so I can leave it there. I'm going to take an anti-static powder tool and run it around the edges here just to keep my embellishments from sticking to the sides. So that they just keep flowing around. It is going to be a tight fit because I'm only doing one layer, but these are very thin confetti, so I think that that'll be fine. Now I'm going to this is a pretty big image. Pretty big background. So I want to do a lot of confetti, but not this much. Peel up my tape and place, line up my border. And place it down. Now, I have snowflakes. The last thing I need is a sentiment. So the sentiment I'm going to use is from the same stamp set, A Merry Christmas to All. I have a stitched border die that I used to cut out the sentiment. I think I'm going to stick it bring out a T ruler because I want to line it up straight-ish. The last thing I want to do is add some extra stars to the front just as embellishments. So one down here. All right, now just to add my stamp to the back. And there is my third card, done and dusted. Very cute. And even though it went outside of what I was thinking of originally, I still like it.